Good evening mga kalaro! Andito na naman ang inyong mga sportito para sa isang gabi ng kwentuhan, kantsawan at kulitan dito lang sa Laro-Laro lang! Ang show kung saan tumatambay lang kami at pinag-uusapan namin ang latest happenings sa sports. I am Chief Bislak Joel Parcon at sinasamahan tayo as always ng Daddy dribbling all the way in Canada, Mr. Excited Gary Villanueva.
Hey everyone, good morning, good evening, eh?
Andito rin ang Contra Commander, ang expert sa pagnimiron, si Coach Miron, Noy Africa.
Good evening everyone, welcome to our show.
And of course, hindi magpapahuli ang master ng pasabog, si Mr. Pasabog Farley Romantico Aguila.
Ay nako, good evening sa lahat. Yeah. Thank you.
Televiewers.
Tonight mga kalaro, kasama natin ang isa sa integral player sa history ng Ateneo de Manila basketball. He was a member of the back-to-back champion team of the Ateneo Blue Eagles in 1987 and 1988 and was even inducted into the Ateneo Hall of Fame. For much of his PBA career, he suited up for the RFM franchise in the PBA that won several championships, even coming close to a Grand Slam in 1995. Today, he is one of the most respected PBA analysts in the country. Mga kalaro, mga sportilo, let's all welcome number 10, Eric Reyes.
Hello guys, hello everyone. Great to be here. It's always an honor to be a guest in any talk show, most especially online.
Nice.
Yon.
Thank you for
Thank
grace.
So,
you.
Coach, what's been keeping you busy nowadays?
Well, me and my family, we decided to live more in the province. Buhay kami, probinsyano ngayon. So right now I'm here in Batangas. So most of the time I spend it here, and I would go back and forth once in a while to check on work back home. Right now kasi wala pa masyadong PBA sportscasting, and of course we all know that the whole world is in a pandemic, so as much as possible we do things online. So I made it a point to stay with family here in Batangas, and at the same time still be active when it comes to what's going on in basketball and even my life in Manila.
Nice.
Wow, it's so good to be with family, no? Especially during a time like this. It's such a welcome thing to have, no? Yeah. So cool.
Did you move there, Eric, because of the pandemic in Batangas, or you've been based there for quite a long time already?
Well, kasi what happened was we had an opportunity to build our home in Batangas. Initially, prior to the pandemic, we were only thinking of coming here every weekend. But then, when the pandemic broke out, we tama-tama parang everything was like as planned by our creator, and then everything just like fell into place. I never, of course, no one expected the pandemic to happen, but it so everything just fell into place, and a lot of the work, like my kids are all on schooling online. So, syempre, it would be a lot better for us, dito na lang muna sa probinsya. Although, honestly, I would still go back to Manila because, of course, family is there, and yung trabaho natin nasa Manila, we still have to go back once in a while.
Nice.
Wow. Okay, so we'll hear a lot more about Coach Eric and the rest of his career through our first segment called Sportito, where we, like I said, we will talk about our special guest Sportito and his career in sports. Take it away, Mr. Excited.
Hi, Eric. Well, we usually start by asking you guests. Actually, kwento lang, no? Most of our guests, the basketball stars or coaches, we found out that wasn't even their favorite sport when they were growing up. How about you? Was basketball your first love talaga? Did you want to be another sports star, and then what happened? How did you begin as an athlete?
Yeah, everything started from my humble beginnings growing up in Mandaluyong. This is where the Reyes gym, and Farley knows where Reyes gym is. That's where it all started for me. Siyempre, nung time na yon, dalawang bahay pa lang yung tinatayo dun sa lugar namin. I think bahay yata namin, and of course, Farley, kilala niya si Boy at Season. Boyet Season is my neighbor and I grew up with Boyet and the rest of his family. Sila yung kalaro ko dati sa basketball growing up. But then,
Si
you know, yeah, Boyet.
Growing up, ah.
Growing
man.
up, Enzo.
Yeah. He was actually posting me up before and
Wow!
yeah, he didn't want me to join. Ayaw ko pasalihin. Ang rule nun sa bahay, I cannot, kasi sa basketball, sa Reyes gym, yung parking lot ngayon, and alam ni Farley to, yung parking lot ngayon ay basketball court noon, semento. So, pag in-inbound mo yung bola, fast break mo, binaseball pass mo all the way to the other end, pwedeng shoot na doon sa kabilang side. Ganun kaikli lang yung court natin dati. Yeah. And then, we were there, we would play a lot. Siyempre, and hindi nga ako pinapasali kung hindi kasama yung eldest brother ko, si Dr. Butch. He is 13 years older than me. They love to play ball a lot at that time kasi wala naman, there's no internet, there's no video games, there's no nothing, there's not even cable TV. It's all about this antenna na medyo gumaganong pa yan di ba? Tapos yung dial pa pare, Zenith pa yata yung
TV.
So, pinipihit pa yun, tapos black and white lang. That was like, that was where everything started. So they, Boyet and the rest of the neighborhood, we would play basketball. But I never really liked the game at that time. And then, pinapasali lang ako pag yung eldest brother ko nandun kasi natatakot baka masaktan daw ako. And then, fast forward to grade 7, grade 6, I think, I started playing ping pong. So, my father who loved hayalay back then. Hayalay, yeah. Yeah, naglalaro. Kasi yung parking lot nga na yun, my dad was more of a sportsman. He loved to play different. Mahilig siya sa kabayo, mahilig siya sa hayalay, mahilig siya sa basketball din. And then I think some of my brothers nag-hayalay player. Back then, this is really old school, guys. Maybe way beyond your time.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these things, baka hindi nyo na inaabot. So, they were playing hayalay and hayalay was big back then. Parang PBA na ang daming nanonood. Sa Taft Avenue pa nga, sinasama ako noon pag naglalaro yung mga brother ko kasi it was a profession to them. And then, tumataya pa nga yung mga tao noon They bet on the, parang ending. Parang ending.
Number, parang ganun.
Oo, tumataya sila. Kunyari, every player kasi had a number on their chest na kung sino yung mananalo and the second and the third place in terms of the point system. Yun yung parang number that people bet. So, my brother was there. Sinasama ko ng tatay ko doon. Pati sa karera ng kabayo, pupunta nga rin ako Wala akong ginawa doon kundi kumain ng kumain. Wala naman akong iniisip at that time. I just enjoyed eating burgers and then, and they were feeding me in the box. But then, that's actually my childhood. I was really exposed to a lot of sports until the day I started playing ping pong for LaSalle Green Hills in grade 6. And I honestly, became good at it. Of course, since I came from LaSalle, there's that rivalry already between Ateneo and LaSalle. Ping pong pa lang yan noon. So pag kalaban ko yung mga taga-Ateneo noon, syempre, talagang gusto kong talunin. Kasi I'm from a LaSalle family talaga And then one day, one Christmas, my uncle who was already part of the Northern Consolidated team, his name is Mr. Tito Chit Pineda. He was already working for Boss Danding at that time and they already saw me. Sabi niya, tangkad nung anak mo. Sabi ko, nagbabasketball ba yan? So like one Christmas reunion, he said, Eric, ba't hindi ka mag-basketball? Sayang yung tangkad mo. Knowing Tito Chit was a tough guy, he would always say, bakit ayaw mo mag-basketball? Ba't gusto mo yung larong walang contact? Ayaw mo yung pagpakalalaki ka. Sabi niya gano'n. Alam mo naman back then, di ba? I mean, medyo macho, gano'n yung dating, di ba? That's old school. That's how they were before. Okay, sabi ko, so I tried playing basketball. Inter-barangay. Siyempre, medyo kinakain tayo ng buhay doon. Tapos, di talaga tayo marunong. And then, ayun na nga. So, after that inter-barangay experience, tryout ako ng LSGH first year high school or grade 7. I was overage. And then, tryout ng first year high school. Hindi na naman ako tinanggap. So, there were a lot of frustrations along the way until there's always a turning point to everything, eh. And that was my inter-barangay experience before second year high school. So, ano yun? Can you imagine, guys, the free throw, you are given 3 free throws to make 2. Uso yung 3 to make 2.
No, 3 to make 2
Oh,
Tinatawag
3 to
before.
make
tayo.
2. Pag
Of course,
penalty.
maybe some of you guys, it doesn't really exist anymore, but that was history of how all these things came about. And but by that time, I was playing the 5 position. I became a best center. Or I was like part of the mythical 5 after that. Nag-champion pa kami. And then, ayun, talagang walang katapusan na lahat ng mga karpintero doon sa bahay, yung mga pintor, yung mga houseboy, kalaro ko yon. Tapos syempre pag naglalaro ka sa interbarangay, then you go to some of your teammates' house. Back in Canlaon, do sa neighborhood ni Mayor Ben Abalos at that time, kalaro ko yung anak ni Mayor Ben sa pingpong. Tapos pupunta ako dun sa yung mga bahay dun sa tapat. And doon lahat, puro basketball naman ang pinag-uusapan, walang katapusan. So there were a lot of good ballers at that time. But then, hindi lang siguro talaga pinalad. And then, ayun, that's how everything started until I made it to the LaSalle team in second year high. And then third year high, I was under Coach Virgil Villavicencio, who's now with Talk and Text. Until I got to my fourth year high, and I had to face Benji Paras, the number 1 high school player back then, who, kumbaga, nung time na yon, at that time, I remember the finals in the USNCAA. It was Georgetown of Patrick Ewing versus Villanova, Ed Pinkney, and all those other guys. Yeah, no one really expected Villanova to upset Patrick Ewing because he was the tower of power in the USNCAA. So, ganun yung nangyari sa akin. Every time I played Benji and all the other guys, I mean, parang I was in awe all the time. So, sobrang takot ako talaga kay Benji, lalo na when he dunks on me. And I never really recover. Yan, totoo yan. Ha? And then one day, I just kept on playing and playing. In fact, there was a finals game. So, the 1986 Feb Revolution broke out. And ito na nga, we had a game in Rizal Memorial against San Beda. National Inter-Secondary Championship. Sa high school. So nandyan din yung UV. I remember Jojo Lim of Shea. He played for Shell and he was in UV back then. Siyempre, mga Cebuano at that time, medyo takot ka kasi alam mo, lalakas ang katawan. And then, tapos sabay, siyempre, nung time na yun, medyo payat-payat pa ako, but I was already starting to work out kasi nga, nanggali akong ping-pong and then I was really lanky. Siguro, I don't know kung kasing payat ko si Kai Soto at that time. So and then I just kept on working out and then one day, we just upset Benji. And frankly, even to this day, I don't really know how I beat Benji Paras in that team. I don't really know. But like I said, you just have to pray hard for it. And then sometimes things just happen for a reason. And then that was basically the turning point. When I beat Benji Paras in that game, parang naging parang katulad na nangyari sa Villanova, parang naging okay, nabigyan ako ng break. That was my biggest break talaga. That's the reason why Ateneo gave me, invited me to come over and all the other college teams. That was my free ticket to a college education because that's what I always wanted to help my parents back then. I said they were working so hard. Sabi ko, one day sana makapag-scholarship para, they don't really have to pay for my tuition anymore. So, yun. That's
so,
how
question
everything started.
Sorry, question. Obviously, green to blue. Wala ka bang offer from LaSalle noon? Or parang we were kind of debating earlier. Was LaSalle in the LaSalle Seniors, was it in the UAAP na at that time? Kaya ka ba nag-Ateneo or wala pang LaSalle sa UAAP? Parang if I remember correctly, wala pa yata LaSalle sa UAAP noong time na yun. That's why you went to Ateneo? Sorry, just to clear things up lang. Yeah,
sure. When 86, after the Feb Revolution, LaSalle signified its intention to join the UAAP. And yes, I did have, assistant coach Gabi Velasco told me to attend the tryouts for DLSU under Coach Derek. And then itong si Ateneo naman, my teammate back in high school, who was one batch ahead of me, si Len Mumar, told me that Ateneo also wanted me to try out. So of course, you know, could I say no naman? Of course, my father, learning that he was from the Ateneo in grade school, he told me na, why don't you try out Ateneo? Okay, so I tried, pumunta ako sa parehong school eh. Itong nangyari. Since si Len Mumar nandun sa Ateneo, parang mas na at home ako agad, which is really unusual. Hindi ko talaga maintindihan. And then nung pumunta ako ng Lasal, yung mga nandun, si Joey Santa Maria, Bachman, and then Dindo was there. Of course, si Gabi was still a player back then, sila Waki Garcia, Mike Wang. Those were the guys who were in the roster. Hindi ko medyo, I don't know, hindi ako masyadong na at home kagad sa Lasal eh. Puro tisoy kasi, hindi naman ako tisoy.
Sabihin ko nga, puro mga ano yun eh. Tsaka I think they were matagal na, di ba?
Oo, puro mga tisoy eh. Sabi ko
Si
eh,
Parley
hindi naman tayo.
Dapat sila pala nasa Lasal. Kasi yun eh.
Yeah, but I don't know. For some reason, I just had, you know, something was telling me to try. Why don't you try out Ateneo? And to this day, it was never. I never regret making that decision to move to the blue and white. Not because I hated LaSalle, but because it gave me a different perspective. It gave me a different view about things, about discipline, about academics. LaSalle, of course, I am always be grateful to LaSalle. In fact, all my kids are in LaSalle right now. But then, you know, at that time, it's really all about basketball because my goal, and going back to your question about when basketball really became a dream, I think after beating Benji Paras, that was really the biggest turning point. I said I wanted, so ito na nga, I wanted to get a scholarship so I don't really need my parents to have to work hard and give me an education. And then from there, I wanted to become a basketball player. Sabi ko, so I set my goal now on, you know, turning pro, even at an early age. But syempre, you have to go through the grind, di ba? Yung college. Yeah. And that's how everything started. Sabi ko, sige. So I went to Ateneo. I was so honored to meet the great Farley Aguila in Ateneo.
Sana teammate, hindi lang meet.
Diba? And then, yeah, yun, ganun lang talaga. Of course, the rest is history now, winning the 2 UAAP championships, having to face Benji Paras again, UP. And I was a power forward for Ateneo.
Yan, Coach. So, Benji naman was in UP. At that time, si Joey Guanyo, who was your teammate, nag-UP din, di ba? Tama ba ako? How about them? Hindi mo inisip pag-UP nung time din?
Well, actually, I forgot to mention, no? After the championship against Benji, kinausap ako ni Coach Jolly pa, ako, si Joey Guanyo, Benji Paras, they wanted us to go to UP. So nagta-tryout na kami. And then, during the course of the tryout, my father found out that I was trying out and I wanted to go to UP kasi si Coach Joe, I wanted to play for him. Ayaw ng dad ko. I really don't know. Maybe because, like I said, we were very old-fashioned. We were old school at that time. And sabihin ko na totoo, nung time kasi syempre, kaka-February Revolution lang. Kumbaga, it's a revolution people kami. Kids. Yung UP, syempre, parang isipin mo kagad, you know, whatever was happening during the Marcos era and at the time, kaka-February Revolution lang. Baka daw maging rebelde ako. Kaya ayaw ako. Of course, I never believed in that. I mean, that was the view of my father. And to the point na halos nag-away pa kami. Nag-away pa kami nung daddy ko. Sabi ko, gusto ko talaga mag-UP. Pero for some reason, talagang, like I said, it must have been really fate for me to end up in Ateneo at that time. And like I said, I never regretted every single minute of my life being a Blue Eagle also.
Nice. Galing. Kasi looking ahead, looking forward, so you're already at Ateneo. Then, before we talk about the career, can you talk about, nagugulat ako guys, di ba? Nung panahon na yun, tryout eh. Ngayon it's called actually recruitment. Recruitment di ba? Parang nagugulat. Nagta-tryout pa kayo? Yung parang, even Olsen, we talked guest last week, pati siya nag-tryout, di ba? Yan, si
Yeah.
Farley nag-tryout. Yan.
Yan, si
Ewan ko,
Farley
hindi
na
na-
tryout.
Hindi ko na
Ano nga, ngayon
tinatanggap
lang
si
ako pinanganak
Farley.
para ni-recruit na lang ako eh.
Kukunin na nga sana si Farley, pero nung kinuha si Farley, pinalis yung coach. At siguro
Coach
sinabi
Chris,
ko sa... Ano ba? Hindi, nabibiro lang ako.
Coach Chris.
It was, you know what? Ito nga balikan na lang natin. But kasi nga, I had 6 different coaches in 5 playing years in Ateneo. Can you imagine? I had 6 different.
Wow!
And kasi ngayon, syempre, uso ngayon yung sistema, di ba? Sa PBA, sa UAP, gusto mo tuloy-tuloy yung sistema, isang coach lang yan. At least you'll be given like 5 years or 4 years to be at the helm, and then at least you'll try your luck and be the best coach you can be. But then, at that time, palit ng palit eh. Every time nananalo na kami, pinapalitan din yung coach. So, nasanay ako ng ganun already back in Ateneo. So, ayun na nga, I mean, it was a tryout back then because there were a lot of kids. There were a lot of great players, and I would readily tell you guys, there were so much talented players, more talented than me, more skilled than me. But then, wala. For some, siguro it wasn't really destined to be. Hindi mo talagang aasahan na biglang, okay, ikaw na lang ilalagay doon. Sari-saring dahilan, di ba? So, that's the reason why I also end up in an Ateneo. And maybe there's really a reason why, I was really sent there in the first place.
Yeah. So, 86, UP wins the championship. Benji was there, Joey was there, ikaw sa
I felt
Ateneo.
bad.
No, I was gonna ask malamang.
Kasi sabi
Timing
ko, oh
wise.
my gosh, I should have gone to UP, Labo. Diba?
Yung ito,
Kasi, noong time na yun, wala, hindi kami makapwesto ng maayos ang lakas ng UE. That was Jericho Diniero. Wala na si Alan Kate doon eh. Yeah, but and then Benji was really a tower of power. Jolie pa just converted Benji into a monster. And then hindi na talaga siya mapigil-pigil. Iba na yung Benji paras ng high school, iba na rin yung Benji paras ng UP at that time. But then it was really all about hard work, and that's where the grind came about.
And then so 87, Ateneo, 88, the core of which was, I guess would say, batch natin, Farley, 85.
Yeah.
From Gideon Reyes,
Yes.
Sep Canlas.
Sep Canlas, sila Alex, sila Joy,
Jet Nieto,
sila
of course,
Jet
Jet
Nieto,
Jet
si Doc.
Nieto.
Yeah.
Yun, so what was the turning point from one year to the other, biglang nag-champion, and then back-to-back? What do you think, in your opinion, what was the turning point, biglang naka-championship pa yung 87 and 88? Aside from you playing better siguro.
The biggest confidence booster for me was when I played. Ito nangyari. After the 86, yung sa UP, si Jolly pa became the national coach. He became the youth team coach. And at that time, nag-tryout din ako sa youth team. Hindi ako natanggap. But for some reason, and I don't really understand, itong si Peter Howe. Farley, you remember Peter Howe, di ba?
Yeah.
He used to play for Presto. Apet Howe,
Yeah.
Anong nangyari, nag-overage si So the initial batch nag-overage. I think that was sila Hector pa. And then they had to hastily call the tryout. So na-form yung tryout ako, hindi ako natanggap, nakat ako. Si Apet Howe was there. And for some reason, they found that Apet Howe was ineligible also. And I don't know, biglang ako yung nilagay sa lineup. So again, I went under Coach Jolie pa. Pero ang experience ko kasi kay Coach Joe really toughened me up a lot of times. Kasi sa totoo lang, si Coach really taught me how to be a fighter in the game. He didn't really just want me to be, hindi ka pwedeng lalambot-lambot eh. And I'm actually grateful to the man because he prepared me for college ball. And after a couple of years, before PBA, he prepared me again for PBA type of basketball. So, talagang it must have been really fate. I did not make it to UP, but then I made it back again to the youth team. And kasi grabe training namin doon. That was 3 times a day. And kasi nagmadali yan. You had to form a team. And the tournament was like in a month, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Na ginawa rin sa Royal.
Yeah, who were your prominent teammates at that time?
Of course, Benji was there, Asaitono was there, Ria Lubit, our guard, the best guard was June Reyes, Joey Guanyo was our shooter. Of course, Dicky Bachman was there. Yun yung mga guys. But of course, it was Asaitono, Ria Lubit. I think Bong Alvarez was also in the team. He was my roommate, naalala ko eh. So, pero grabe yun. I mean, it's not, we play second to China. Ginawa sa Rizal Memorial, punong-puno yung ano. But, you know, for me, I've always believed, and I've seen it many times. After that stint, pagbalik ko ng Ateneo, when nagdi-drill kami nung, they call it planting rice, yung back and forth, quarter court runs. Ateneo, it was 30 seconds eh. And then binababa nila to 28, 27. When we were with Jolie pa, nakakatatlong practice na kami sa isang araw. Yung last practice namin, nahihilo na ako. Tapos babanatan ka niya ng 30, 27. Tapos pag hindi mo naabot, uulitin niyo yung drill and then mumurahin ka pa niya. So and then pagod na kami. Coach Joe said, okay, he told, I think si Coach Herc Calyanta at that time, sabi niya, Coach Herc, timean mo 22 seconds. Can you imagine, guys? He slashed it down to 22. And I don't really know. Pero umaabot ako nun. Sobrang kondisyon ko talaga nun. Kaya pagbalik ko ng Ateneo, sobrang kondisyon ko. Although, hindi naman ako yung star player ng team. Bangko naman ako dun sa youth team eh. But the experience in itself and the grind made me a better, stronger player. Kaya pagbalik ko ng Ateneo, sobrang kumpiyansa na ako. Nagka-27 seconds kami noon sa quarter court runs, balik-balik. Pinagtatawanan ko lang sila Jet Nieto. Jet, kinikwentuhan ko pa siya. Pare, it was so easy. It was so easy. It was so easy. Yeah, tinatawanan ko lang. Eh, guess what? At the end of that year, that was in almost rin yun papuntang 87 na rin yun. Nagka-bronchitis ako. Kasi sobrang pagod. Kasi after the youth team, syempre, I had to do my Ateneo, laro pa rin ako for Ateneo. So, you know, I was really playing really well. Pero yun nga, syempre, sobrang pagod na rin. Bumagsak na rin yung katawan ko. But you know, it really made me tough. And I've seen, this is not the only time I've seen this. Jun Limpot, when he played for the youth team before with Danny Francisco, became a superstar for DLSU. So, and then marami pang ibang mga players, like for example, si Mark Pingris, I think nowadays, when he played for Gilas, pagbalik na sa PBA, he really became a beast. Diba? Ronnie Del and all the other guys. Kasi, I don't know, maybe the level of play and then the competition, and of course, you know, wearing that flag on your chest really brings up your level of play, lalo na pagbalik mo dito sa sa PBA or sa college ball.
Nice. So winning the championships 87, 88. I remember watching Danny and you guys play for the back-to-back.
87 nung championship, kasi Danny was like, I had to front Jerry, and then Danny was helped from the weak side. And then Danny collapsed lang, and then it was Alex turn naman to really be
step up,
siya nag-step up, kaya nakilala rin sa Alex Araneta at that time. So sa 88 naman, si Danny was able to play na talaga, but we did not have the late Nonoy Chuatico in 88. Nonoy, kasi in 87, championships ang kami nun left and right. After the UAP, MMBL namin, champion din. And then yung National Intercollegiate champion din. So it was really a sweep of all tournaments that Ateneo joined back then. Until we got to 88. Of course, si Coach Chris kinuha na sa Pure Foods, Kalilan, and then si Gaston na yung Coach Fritz Gaston na yung pumalit sa amin as a coach.
The back-to-back,
Yeah, sa back-to-back na.
Balikan muna natin, Coach, yung yung 1987, the first of the back-to-back. Siguro nandun tong dalawang Atenista natin dito dun sa, sa venue.
Yun yung 20 points.
Was on the court.
Pero ito, I mean,
yun yung 20 points down.
I'm going to set it up.
I was behind the ring.
Down by 20 points. You're down by 20 points in the second half. Ano yung naging mindset ng team nun in trying to get the game closer? Do you remember kung ano yung mga sinabi ni coach sa inyo?
We just kept on fighting and fighting. I was showing my kids actually the game of yung 87 finals.
Yeah.
Because my kids think that I suck. They never really saw me. You know what? My kids, because I have two kids who played ball, and one is playing for LaSalle Green Hills. He's a really a good shooter. He plays two guard. The other one nasa San Agustin, 12 years old pa lang ngayon. They play ball. So like now, syempre they want me to dunk and stuff like that. And pare naman, hindi ko na kaya mag-dunk ngayon. And then, so when they see me play in mga inter-village or pag kaming mga yung mga pagpipinsa nila, nagpipick up game kami. How come parang I don't daw masyadong pasal ako ng pasa, hindi ako masyado namimwersa. So, pinakita ko sa kanila yung video kasi nga, yung tingin nila sa akin talagang I was like a bench warmer back then. So, ayun, pinakita ko talaga sa kanila. Nakita nila yung game. And I remember, while I was watching the video, talagang tambak na. It was really frustrating kasi wala kaming gawing tama. I was missing a lot of point blank shots. And prior to that game, I believe I was scoring like 30 points. I couldn't really miss the second round matchup with LaSalle in that year. So going to that finals with UE, it was parang I was so uptight kasi parang things were not working for me when I came into the game. Tapos wala pa si Danny. So pagpasok ng last 10 minutes of the game, I just didn't think about the score anymore. Every offensive rebound that I got, I just kept on flashing and flashing. Parang everything was just like, yung instincts ko, mag-isa na lang talaga lumalabas. It tells me what to do on the court. So parang binabasa ko na yung, doon na lumalabas yung experience. Kasi hindi ka na basta-basta gumagawa na lang ng play. You are already reading. That's when you start reading and playing intelligent type of basketball. And I only had 4 points in the first half. And I think I ended up with 22 in the game. So I had 18 in the second half. A lot of it are all from putbacks, from cuts. Of course, June just made me look so good.
June.
June was really the best. Kasi he just made me look so good on the court. Kasi lahat, dumadali ang buhay pag magaling yung point guard mo eh. So I'd scored a lot. And that time, the attitude was just like to keep playing and playing. I did not look at the score anymore. I just wanted to score every opportunity because when I started scoring, a part of the 18 points in the second half, pagtingin ko, alapit na pala. Alapit na. Tapos sabay pumasok na nga yung 3 points ni Nonoy and then Jet Nieto with his drive to the basket. Ang kasi we were only down by 2 na lang. And of course, it's really all about the defense. Really all about that attitude that never say, parang barangay Hinebra tuloy, never say die attitude. But the Hail Mary type of basketball that Ateneo was known for, that really took a lot of prayers at that time. And like I said, minsan di mo talaga maintindihan, bigla pala kayo mananalo pa. Akala mo talo na. Yung pala mananalo pa.
Yeah, especially with diba? You actually made the last free throw of that game.
Padeniera fouls out. Second try by Eric Reyes is good.
Chamba pa nga yun eh. Chamba pa nga yun. Kasi nga, I remember Dick Ildefonso, the anchor at the time with Coach Chot. Sabi pa nga ni Dick, Eric Reyes, so tense, so uptight. Yun yung comment nila. Which is true. Because at that time, talagang I was so, para akong gigil na gigil. Kasi nga, yung last few games namin prior to the championship, I played so well. And, rewind to the first round matchup with LaSalle in 87, Joey Santa Maria scored 30 points on me. Kasi kami ni Joey Santa Maria yung power forward ng both schools. So kami parati mag-matchup dyan. And then, he scored 30 on me. Sa second round, I couldn't miss. lahat ng baseline jumper ko pumasok. So parang I was just in a zone that game. So parang, if you're coming from a real good game, going into your game against the finals, so parang your confidence level is sky high. And when you started missing, nanggigil ako. Parang pinipilit ko na yung game ko. Even point blank, tutok barok na nga, namimiss ko pa eh. Hanggang sa, nakuha ko yung game ko, kaka-follow up, kaka-cut, getting points, garbage points, mga ganyan. So that's how we got the game back and eventually won that game.
Yeah, I actually also watched that video of the finals. So parang kitang-kita mo talaga yung fight, especially ewan ko kung naramdaman niyo yun. Yun nga, kung sumali din tong si Farley tsaka si Gary dun. But there was a point where I think you had just tied the game with your own 2 free throws as well. You scored the 2 free throws to tie the game. Tapos you momentum was on your side, and then you suddenly hear the entire Coliseum, the entire venue doing the chant of the Atenistas.
Possible equalizer still in the hands of the Blue Eagles now.
Nonoy Chotico seems to have twisted his ankle.
Chotico was going to be the intended receiver that time. It'll be a flat-court throw-in for Ateneo.
Diba? So parang did that somehow also add to the tension or to the inspiration? Did that inspire you guys?
It did actually. It really made a difference because I was gigil na nga ako. We were down, our backs were against the wall. Kahit kami yung supposed to be twice to beat, ginanahan ka lalo maglaro kasi when you started scoring and then you felt the school support, you felt the crowd really get into the game, it actually brought back the confidence. Then that's the reason why I felt that we were able to get back. Malaking bagay talaga yung sixth man in any league.
Yeah.
When you have your fans or when you have lalo na your school behind you cheering for you, it will really, there will always be a chance that things would, magbabago yung momentum eh. And we see that even in the PBA nowadays, kahit tambakan na yung game, it just takes a couple of baskets to bring one team back.
Yeah. Speaking for experience, Joel, I was there during the championship game. I remember the angle. I was sitting there. I saw the angle. Kung tumingin sa jet ng press eh. Nung nakita kong pasok, syempre, what little lumabas mo, yung marami ba, pero parang, huy, baka may pag-art. Ano mo yung dahan-dahan, yung momentum. And then, if you've ever been to Rizal is so compact, you can actually see the players' expressions on their faces. Nung naglaro ng Ateneo, naalala ko looking at the UE bench, yung mukha nyo were like, they had no idea what was happening. And then sumisigaw lahat, grabe, na kinikilabot pag naalala ko yung time niya. Kasi talagang lahat kami,
wala na nakaupo.
Naisipan namin mga ganun.
Wala na nakaupo.
Grabe yun.
Ang init pa nun, walang aircon yun.
Walang Di lang yun. Marami pa nag-iossi pa mga time na yun. Uso pa pwede ko mag-iossi sa loob ng lugar.
Nag-iossi ka pa sa
Oh,
loob.
yeah. Ganun yun. Parang interbarangay nga, may nag-iossi sa gilid.
Kaya makita ko ng tension na pare, mahabol tayo.
Tsaka walang tigil yung cheer. Like, pag depensa, get that ball. Pag opensa, shoot that ball. Talagang wala. Tuloy-tuloy.
Wild.
Galing. Sarap ng feeling na yun.
Yeah. It was really different, and it was kasi my teammate and good friend Nonoy just passed away recently.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the 87 championship, it always brings back a lot of memories about a great person and a great friend. That's why when it comes to the championship in itself, of course it's special, but then when you look back, especially when you have a dear friend playing with you and was really instrumental in that whole year. Kasi, si Nonoy, the reason why it was also difficult for us going into the 88 championship when he played LaSalle, because Nonoy was clutch. He was the one who would always bail us out in a lot of tight games. Even in that game against Southwestern, that corner three-point shot, last second shot to win the game. It was actually Nonoy who delivered that shot, and that's the reason why when during the wake of Nonoy online, that was just last year. Yeah, tinatanong ako kasi parang sila Bibo, sila Paul, yung mga kapatid niya, they were asking the 87 team kasi special yun for Nonoy. ano yung mga memories namin. And yung sinasabi ko parati na Nonoy was really clutch. And that's the reason why I feel that, that's why Nonoy kasi always exemplified that never say die spirit.
Yeah.
He never really gave up on any game. And that's what we missed coming into the 88 season.
That's 88 naman, no? Yun nga, you were talking about it. Ito naman, the finals against the bitter rivals. Between the bitter rivals, the Ateneo and Lasal.
No,
Di
I
ba?
remember that game too.
Ibang klaseng naman siguro yun. Ibang klaseng tension naman yun, yung laban na yun.
Yeah, mabigat yun kasi syempre Lasal was already really geared up for that 88 tournament. Sila na talaga they were really, it was like a showdown waiting to happen sa first round pa lang. And then nung natalo kami sa Lasal nung first round, ayan na, syempre parang it was like a sleeping giant. Kailangan na talaga gisingin. And that's a time when Ateneo started really straight yun eh. Halos magsisweep na dapat ang first round until that loss to Lasal, which was for me, looking back then, it was good because it brought us back down. At least kasi mahirap yan kung na-sweep namin yun. Tapos baka mamaya pagdating sa second round or sa championship, doon kami diretso yun ng Lasal. Mas mahirap. So in a way, maganda na rin yung nangyari na yun. Tsaka nung year na yun, makwento ko na rin pala sa inyo, si Farley, naalala ko na talaga si Farley nung time na yun. Kasi, well, of course, nung 87, si Farley, nandun na siya sa court eh. Farley was definitely with us on the court celebrating. That's why matagal na marami kami pinagsama ni Farley. Pero nung 88, nung nag-rumble yung UP at Ateneo, nakita ko si Farley nandun din. Sumasali.
Wala, mabait ako.
Maybe nga, nasa court din, sumali din si Farley.
Umaawat.
Yeah, si Farley nandun. Umaawat kunyari, pero susuntukin niya si Benji Paras.
Laki nun, hindi kaya.
No, I was also telling the guys here, Eric, I remember you when I was watching you play before. If I could compare you to a player now, I would compare you to Tim Duncan. Honestly, kasi no time, I remember every time you would get the ball down low, parang ina-analyze mo yung mga moves of parang easy desk ka. Yung ganun ka, you would look at your kalaban and then analyze ko kung gagawin. Parang tatarong-tanan siya, ganun mo na lang eh.
Yeah.
I remember Eric, kalmado palagi. Mag-emotion siya after shooting the basket. Parang every time you see, parang stoic lang yung mukha. Yung gano'n lang siya. And then the day, double-double or whatever. Ganun talaga Farley, di ba? I think Farley would agree with me.
Oo.
Pero
Bata
kinakabahan
pala
ako
ko,
nun.
pinanonood ko na yan eh.
Kunwari lang ako Uy, umihirit ka dyan. Sige ka pa. Alam mo, di ka narinig
Kaya bata pala ako, pinanonood na kita kasi batch ahead ako sa'yo. Bata pa tayo nun eh.
Mabuti na yung
Bata kayo
nagkakaaminan. Masama na mahirap mangumpisa lang yan eh. Hindi ka makakapunta diretso malapit sa pare. Maririnig ka na lahat ng tao.
Kita ka ng pare. Ito pala yun. Ito pala.
The skill, actually, the type of game that I had, it really came from my Lasal Greenhouse days. It was more on the back to the basket face-up jumper. Kasi nga, I wasn't really known to be dunking like Benji. The power game wasn't really in my game. And I was really taught, kasi nung time na yun, Lasal Greenhouse didn't have a 5. So I played 5 in high school. And that's the reason why a lot of the moves were really coming from the pivot. A lot of them were turnaround shots. And that's something that I really worked on. I had three moves lang ang ginagawa ko noon. It's either it's a baseline jumper, an up and under, or a spin baseline and just go for the layup. Tatatlo lang yung moves, tatlong options lang yung ginagawa ko when I was playing the post in high school. But medyo it kinda, sa Ateneo ganun din eh, halos na ganun, but nadagdag lang yung mga offensive rebounding, and that's something that I had to improve on my game kasi nga I was playing the 4 position eh. But fast forward to the PBA, everything really came from the post, and then when Coach Jolly pa tinuruan ako mag face up, taking a 3-point shot, and that's how my game really evolved from the post to the perimeter.
At this point, did you ever think about turning pro? At what point did you think about, did you go back-to-back champions, winning all of this, and you were playing much better, no? Did you ever think about joining the pros at this point?
It was a dream already back then.
Mm.
It was a dream because it was a livelihood. Nakita ko yung, kasi nga I was really exposed to big time basketball with my uncle Chit Pineda with NCC. Kung hindi kasi nagkaroon ng Feb Revolution at that time, I was already about to be in the training pool of NCC.
Oh, okay.
They had a tournament in Malaysia. Pagbalik nila, dapat sasabay na ako sa training. So, kaso, hindi nga na, kasi nga, nagkaroon ng revolution. So, I had to do it the hard way, from the youth team to the 2 championships of Ateneo, hanggang sa, tsaka hindi pa kami pwede tawag nila ngayon, D-League, pero back then it was PABL or PBL.
Yeah.
And I was, after my second championship in Ateneo, nung nawala si Danny, hindi kami nag-champion, I decided to start playing na for the D-League or the PABL before, to get more exposure. But yes, the dream was there already of turning pro one day.
What team did you join sa PABL? What team or teams did you join sa PABL noong time na yun?
I played for RFM. Well, ang nangyari pala niyan, nung 87, there was a time that I wanted to play in the PABL already. Naglaro ako for a while for Pure Foods. That's how I met most of the Pure Foods upper management. And pero sandali lang Sila Jack Tanuan pa nga yun nandun sa Pure Foods at that time. Pero si Coach Chris and Mr. Ernest Escaler told me that they didn't want me to play commercial league, and at the same time, gusto lang nila mag-focus ako sa Ateneo at sa schooling ko. So that's the time na sayang, hindi ko na masyadong natapos yung stint ko with the PABL. So Ateneo na lang. Until after nung natalo na kami for the supposed to be going for the 3rd championship, I started playing for RFM in the PBL already.
Fast forward to the PBA, you were drafted by you were drafted by Swift.
Yes, it was Mighty Meaties. Ang nangyari noon, prior to the draft, I was already playing for A&W. In fact, I graduated in 1991 from the Ateneo. So, ang nangyari pa noon, we were in, I think, a semi-final game in Ninoy Aquino Stadium. And then I had my graduation in Ateneo that same day. It was a crucial game for A&W pa yung team ko noon, or Philip Sardines. Alam ni Coach Joe, hindi na ako lalaro. Kasi nga syempre graduation. He said, okay, you attend your graduation. That's something special for you in your life. Guess what? So I attended the baccalaureate mass in the morning. So syempre of course puyat ka niyan. And then balik ako sa hapon sa Loyola. March ako. So, syempre nakatuga, everything, akit ka ng stage. Pag akit ka ng stage, so tinawag ako, bow, baba. Instead of going back to my chair, I went straight to the exit. To the exit. So, para akong Superman, parang nagtatanggal na ako ng suit na ganyan, toga, punta ako sa kotse. Pagdating ko sa loob ng kotse, pagdating ko sa loob ng kotse, I was already, parang nagbibihis na ako. I was changing and everything in the car. Straight to Ninoy Aquino Stadium. Dumating ako doon. Second. Yeah. From Ateneo. Hindi pa naman 1 hour or 2 hours ang biyahe all the way back then. Wala pa masyadong traffic. May flyover na yata. May flyover na sa EDSA. Pero wala na yung stoplight sa Ortigas sa may galeria.
Sa corner.
Di ba? So, I ended up in Ninoy. I think halftime nung game. And we were down. So, bihis ako, pa-tape ka agad. So, 3rd quarter, hindi ako ginamit ni Coach Joe. Nagulat si Coach Joe nga, bigla akong dumating. Tapos, pagpasok na 4th quarter, I played that game. And so, I played really well, kahit 4th quarter na. So, dumikit. Tapos, the game, we were down by, I think, 3 in regulation. Tapos, parang I was free for a 3-point shot in the corner. So, I took it, pumasok. So, nag-OT. Nag-OT pa. Tapos, ang overtime kasi no, hindi 5 minutes. Parang there was an innovation that was being experimented by the PABL or a PBL na I think first to how many
First
shots?
7?
Race to 7?
Yes,
Race
race to
to
7.
9?
Oh.
Parang ganun na.
Parang
And
race to 7.
I still scored in that time and nanalo kami. Nanalo kami talaga. So it was really very memorable for me before turning pro kasi I played well. I mean, I graduated from Ateneo. So meron ako Ateneo diploma. And then ako pa yung nakatulong pa ako doon sa team ko kaya nag-overtime at nanalo pa. I only scored, I think, around maybe 7-8 points, but they were all crucial na towards the end of the game. So, and then coach told me, akala ko talaga hindi ka na dadating eh. Sinabi niya sa akin ganun. Yeah, sinabi niya sa akin ganun. So, fast forward to the draft, I was playing so well, but nung time na kasi magkakaroon ng draft, January, patapos pa lang yung tournament sa PBL. So I had to, and Coach Joe told me, Coach, next year na lang ako magpapadraft. Tapusin ko itong na kasi gusto ko mag-champion talaga under Coach Joe. But he said, no, Eric, this is a chance of a lifetime. Mag-pro ka na. Iwan mo na kami. Diba? And you served our team very well naman. So he was very selfless, si Coach Joe. Napaka-unselfish what he did. Sabi niya, Eric, kayo ni Joe, umakit na kayo sa PBA kasi yun ay yung dream mo eh. So, and that's where I have so much respect to Coach Joe. Sobrang maprinsipyo yan si Coach Joe Lipa. And I'm really grateful for him for really preparing me. Of course, si Chris Kalilan, Fitz Gaston, all of them really helped me at Coach Chot. But then, parang I've seen a lot of I've tried different coaches and I've seen a lot of their strengths and weaknesses. It's just that si Coach Joe became special because nung time na yun, my father passed away already when I was in 3rd year college. So after the 2 championships, my dad had attack, tapos namatay siya that year. So that was also part of my struggle, being a player because he was always with me the first 2 championships in Ateneo, in the national team, tapos pagpasok ng PBL, pagpasok ng PBA, hanggang sa, I had the family na. I never had my dad anymore at that time. So, hindi niya na ako nakita play in the PBL tapos lalo na sa pagpasok sa PBA. But then, like I said, malaking bagay talaga na naglaro kay Coach Joe kasi he prepared me to play face-up basketball eh. He prepared me to matuto ka na mag-dribble and take it against, kunyari like sila Limpot, I was faster than them. Tapos pag maliit naman yung papagard sa akin, I could post up. So we see a lot of those kinds of players right now. And mostly you see them in mga team ni Coach Tim Cone. They like players who can play multiple positions because it creates a lot of mismatches. Yeah. So ayan, so pagpasok nga ng draft, coach, akala ko talaga si Coach Tim was already talking to Coach Joe that he wanted to get me. Coach Tim Cone for Alaska. So the order of the draft was, I think it was Meneses, Solomon at 1 and 2. Akala ko, ang alam ko talaga number 6 yata or number 5. It was going, basta there was, Alaska had 2 picks eh. It was Solomon at number 2 and I think at number 7 it was supposed to be me. Kukunin na dapat ang Coach Tim. But for some reason, napunta ako kay Coach Yeng Giao naman. I never knew Coach Yeng wanted me. But Coach Yeng was my coach nung nasa PBL days. Di ba nag-RFM ako nung 3rd year college. Yan, naging coach ko rin si Coach Yeng at that time. So that's why medyo kilala na rin ako ni Coach Yeng.
Tapos from being a reliable scorer in college, nag-transition naman yung game mo to becoming more of a defender, no? Known more as a defender when you got to Swift. Now, was it something that was told to you by Coach Yeng? Was it something that was developed because of the team that you had in Swift back then? How did it come about na you were asked to do more of the defensive assignments?
We had a lot of preseason games at that time, and I was already syempre yung mindset ko was more on the way I was playing with Coach Jolly pa. I was taking a lot of threes, but for some reason, syempre nung time na yon, yung 3-point line sa amateur is I think mas malapit yung FIBA.
Malapit, yeah.
Tapos sabay paglipat ng PBA, syempre may mas malayo ng konti. So I was struggling to hit my threes because my game in the PBL was really shooting threes, and then pag lumapit I drive. But I was missing a lot of my shots, so I was getting frustrated. I wasn't really hitting them until si Coach Yeng, kasi the import of Pure Foods back then, si Clinton Smith, I don't know, Farley, if you remember the guy, that was back in 92. He was pinagdepensahan sa akin ni Coach Yeng. Kasi yung mga nauna sa akin, hindi siya mapigil. Pero nung time na yun, nadepensahan ko naman yung import. And that was my rookie year pa lang. So I guess nung time na yun, medyo natuwa si Coach Yeng and he probably saw something in me. That's why I was relegated more or mas nakilala ko bilang isang defensive player kasi yun yung nagawa kong maganda for Coach Yeng. Hanggang sa I didn't really, parang yung offense kasi parang hindi ko makuha talaga yung confidence ko eh. So I just concentrated on playing defense. So I played against, of course, Cap Alvin Patrimonio. And there were some games that I did play well against Cap. So yun, nakilala na ako bilang defensive player. Bawat import from the guys like old school Jervis Cole of Ginebra na nakakatakot depensahan to, I don't know if you guys remember Winston Cright. Of course, maybe some of you are not even born yet.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the beasts that I had to defend on the post. And if kung lalambot-lambot yung foul mo, magagalit si Coach Yeng. Sasabihin sa'yo, tagain mo yan, kailangan hard ka mag-foul. Siyempre, biro mo at the time, teammate mo, I think Rudy Distrito was already there, kung di ako nagkakamali. Parang Rudy was already there yata eh. Rudy, and then, of course, sila Jack, yung mga veterans nung time na yun sa Swift, they were telling me, you have to really give a hard foul. Kasi nung time na yun, no harm, no foul. So talagang medyo bugbugan yung laro. So ganun yung nangyari. So every time I defended an import, I just had to be extra smart and I was really dissecting their game. And that's how my defensive skills really came about. A lot of it really became more on the defense. That's why even my wife, he tells me, wala naman akong ginawa doon. Pwede ko na i-shoot yung bola, pinapasok ko pa. Kasi paano ka pa naman makakaporma? You had Al Solis as your guard. You had Nelson Asaiton as one of the best scorers, power forwards in the PBA. Vergel Meneses. You had so many, of course, sila Boy Beat, sabay-sabay si Kenneth, naging teammate ko pa. I was surrounded by great scorers, MVPs of the league, mythical team members. Ba't mo bibigay kay Eric Reyes yung bola? Doon ka na kaya sa ito, no, kay Meneses, panigurado, di ba? So, gano'n naman talaga eh. It's something that I had to live with. And besides, I earned the respect guarding the best players of the game. And that's something that I can be proud of. Of course, I cannot say that I am one of the top defensive players in the league kasi hindi naman ako na defensive player, puro nomination lang. Diba? Kasi yung depensa ko naman, more on shutting down the opponent, making him miss his shot. But if you ask me, ilan yung blocks mo, ilan yung rebounds mo, ilan yung steals mo, mga ilan lang yun, hindi masyadong I had my blocks, pero it wasn't really enough against the guy who would get a lot of defensive rebounds.
Yeah.
You would have needed analytics to get those awards.
Wala pa yung advanced stats.
Sana nga may ganun eh, no? Kung binibilang yung shooting percentage tsaka kasi syempre hindi naman ako buong game naglalaro sila Cap, sila Jojo buong game na naglalaro, pasundot-sundot lang naman ako kung maglaro nun eh. So the time that I am guarding these legends of the game, kung sana may added points yung gano'n na hindi sila nakashoot. Diba? Maganda sana eh. Baka nagkaroon pa ako ng award.
Nag-share lang ako na kwento. Ewan kung maalala pa ni Eric. Nakwento sa akin ni Cap to eh. Noong 93 daw na semis,
Yes.
Swift and Pure Foods. Alam mo na?
Quiet.
Huwag na lang.
I have, Parley, I have a very good reputation now. Yung mga fans ni Cap, nagalit sa akin lahat yun nung 93,
Oo. Tinulak ni Eric. Ewan ko, bigla siya napikon. Bigla siya nag-swing. Pero hindi naman tinamaan. Automatic ata nung time na yon. So first and only thrown out daw niya sa career niya.
See,
Eric.
I made history.
Okay,
I
Eric.
made the best power forward ejected. Claim, pare, claim to fame ang tawag dyan. Claim to fame. First time,
Naku po.
Patrimonio was kicked out of the game.
First and only time, man.
Alam
Pare,
mo,
may fine yan.
nakikita ko na yung,
Oh.
wow.
Were
Nakikita
you
ko na yung
ano?
mukha ni Coach Yegyaw siguro nun. Tuwan-tuwa siguro sa'yo nun, Coach Yegyaw. Grabe.
I
Were
was
you
Grabe.
ka ba, Eric, in your career? Were you thrown out or something?
I was ejected that game also. I was ejected.
That game day also.
Yeah, pareho kami ni Cap noon kasi kasi the game was so intense
Yeah.
and it was a crucial game actually. And nung time na yun, syempre, kailangan hard foul. Kay Coach Yeng, hindi naman pwedeng soft foul yun. Of course, Patrimonio, how can you give a soft foul to Alvin? Binuhat ka lang niya sa basket. So he was really about to go up for a shot. Pinalo ko yung dalawang arms niya. So I pulled him down. And then siguro, ito sa heated game, he really swung at me.
Yun.
Pagtama sa akin, I hit Alvin also. So, pareho kami ejected. I think ang fine ko yata no 5,000 eh. Maliit pa nga
Malaki
yung
pa nung
fine.
time.
5,000
pero-
malaki.
Malaki na yun, no time na
5,000.
yun.
Noong time na no, kasi kaya naman maliit lang yung fine kasi alam naman ni Commissioner, I think that was late Commissioner June Bernardino. Kasi kami ni Alvin noon, maganda yung reputation namin.
Hindi naman
Kami dirty player eh. So that's why 5,000 lang yung binayaran pa yata ni Mr. Yanga yung fine ko nun. Hindi ko nakita na bawasan yung sahod ko eh.
Baka sabi ni Mr. Yanga, this is the best 5,000 I'll spend for
Oh.
this month.
Sabi ni Mr. Yanga, sige, bayaran ko na lang, 5,000 lang naman eh. Tsaka alam naman niya na kailangan ko talaga mag-hard foul eh.
Duty foul, kumbaga.
Duty foul talaga eh. Yeah, since then, si Alvin, sobrang galit na sa akin. There were many instances after those games. Kasi syempre, parating pag Alvin Patrimonio, Eric Reyes yung pandepensa natin, whoever I played for. And then, so again, may mga incidents na naman, binanatan na naman ako ni Alvin, cut nga ako dito sa ilong nun eh. Kasi manapik ko na naman yata si Cap. Wala kasi ako, kasi ang galing eh, hindi ko lakas. Kung di mo babantayan sa labas, kung hindi ko tinutulak ko, hinakawakan ko, lahat tinutuhod ko. Kasi wala eh, hindi ko talaga, kung straight up defense, ano mangyayari sa akin? Hindi tayo sisikat yan kung hindi mo pipigilin si Patrimonio. Ay, nako.
We're talking about Alvin, no? So, Eric, before leave your PBA career, maybe you can name the best player you've ever faced or guarded or hardest to defend. Baka kasi Cap or baka someone else. And maybe the best or hardest import, any memorable import na binantayan mo. Yung curious na kami.
Sige, okay. Of course, Alvin would be will be at the top of my list. Alvin Patrimonio. Of course, Samboy Lim, of course. I had to guard Samboy. I had to guard Samboy because it's crazy guarding Samboy. Maybe I would stop him one game, similar to Alvin. I mean, all these great players, you can stop them one game, but in the end, they'll come back at you. They will come back at you. They are true competitor and warriors of the game. They will not settle for, Eric Reyes got my number this game, I'm going to get him next time. So they're going to do that. And that's the reason why they are MVPs and that's why they are in the top players of the league. You know, those guys are true warriors, aside from being skilled and athletic at that. And then, of course, sila. Marami talaga eh, kasi I got to guard a lot of the good players. Kay Dick was one, but of course, Samboy, si Alan kasi, mahirap kay Alan kapag iiwan mo siya, mahirapan ka depensan kasi he will really hit the shot. Pero ang time na yun kasi hindi na ako nakikialam doon sa ibang players. Yeah. Stay home with Alan all day. Bahala na kayo dyan. Basta akin si Alan, I will not make him get the ball. Of course, the fourth quarter man, Jojo Lastimosa, there were also some games that I also had a battle with Jojo, especially in the finals against Alaska. Jojo was my guy, and he was also very tough to defend against. Of course, aside Tono, but most of the time, most of my career, si Nelson kasama ko kasi.
Kakampi.
Kakampi ko si Nelson, di ba? So, yun, those are some of the guys who I really had my utmost respect. But, syempre, back then, trabaho ko, stop ko sila. So, wala mo ng respeto at that time. Bahala kaya galit na
How about
galit sa akin.
imports?
Okay, of course,
Import.
the late Bobby Parks, he was really really intense. Bobby Parks was tough. Bobby, sino pa ba yung mga matitinding import at that time? Kasi of course Sean Chambers, Sean Chambers, madaling basahin yung game. Madali basahin kasi alam mo kung gusto niya parati, he'll only turn to his left shoulder. Hindi siya marunong ng turn to his right. So ang daling abangan. But the hard part about Sean, just like Alvin, just like Samboy, is they are warriors. You beat them 1, 2, 3 plays, but you're playing 48 minutes of the game. So they never, ever, he never quit on it. So matalo ko man siya, ma-shutdown ko man yung iba, but he will continue to challenge you off the boards, he will challenge you, he will even play defense on you. Yung mga ganun. There are a lot of other players, of course. Si Devin Davis, dinipensahan ko rin yan. Parang mas malaking Sean Chambers si Devin Davis sa Alaska. There were a lot of others who were tough. But of course, I have my respect to guys like Sean and Bobby Parks. Kaya nga sila paulit-ulit na naglalaro sa PBA. Yung iba kasi talagang lakas lang ng toyo talaga kaya hindi na bumalik. Like my good friend and teammate Tony Harris, kung wala lang talagang toyo.
Oh my God! How was playing with Tony Harris like? The Hurricane. How was that like? Sideshow talaga.
It was actually easy playing with Tony because all you have to do is watch.
Give him the ball and watch.
Saksakan ng buwakaw yun. Isipin mo, 105 points ginawa niya sa Iloilo. 100, I think 150 something yung score namin. 105 sa kanya, tapos mangilan-ngilan lang yung mga na-score ng local. Believe it or not, ang claim to fame ko, and alaskado ko parati sa sportscasting industry si Richard, kasi loko-loko si Richard De Rosario. Out of that 150 points, Tony Harris scored 105. Eric Reyes 4. 4 points pa ako. It was parang like na libre lang yata ako sa fast break layup. Tsaka, I think dalawang fast break layup na wide open lang yata ina-score ko doon kasi naagaw. Tapos nag-aantay na ako, kumakaway na ako. Give me the ball! Kasi naka 4 points pa ako niyan. So yun lang yung that's why every time that there's a story about Tony and we talk about that Iloilo 105-point performance that he did. The sportscasters always tease me for sila Magu, sila Carlo Pamintuan. They were always teasing me kasi out of the 150 plus points, naka 4 points pa daw ko si Tony Harris 105 points. Loko-loko talaga yung makasamahan ko nila.
Dapat sinabi mo na lang that was how much I sacrificed for the team.
Take one for the team.
I sacrificed my scoring.
I had to give it up. No, but one thing I always remember, and I owe this to Tony, my shot kasi, I don't know, nung Ateneo ko, yung spin ng bola ko sa Pasay.
Oh, actually.
Corkscrew.
Pasay. And I was, if you talk about fundamentals, it should have a backspin, di ba? And for some reason, I don't know why I was making my shot in college and in high school. Maybe my arc was too high. That's why siguro pumapasok yung shot. But then, when you talk about the proper fundamental of backspin, follow through, it was Tony Harris who actually changed my shot pagdating ko ng PBA na. That's the time when I had the
Talaga?
backspin my shot. Yeah. Yeah, totoo yan. That's parang trivia ko yan. I never knew how to shoot until Tony. Talagang, kasi si Tony sa practice pa lang, gusto niya, pag 3-man weave, uso kasi ng puro 3-man weave, kailangan nagda-dunk ka. And nasanay ako na mag-dunk. That's why, nung 93, I started dunking already in the game because Tony got me used to dunking in the game. Diba? So, yun, maraming naitulong din sa akin si Tony Harris. He was actually a nice guy. It's just that he was a true competitor and he was oozing with a lot of confidence. May angas, as what they call Paulie now in the PBA, may angas. That's how good he was talaga.
So yun na nga, no? So after the PBA, napasok, how did you get into ito naman sa sportscasting naman? How did you get started in it?
When December 25, 2002, my son was born 2 or 3 months before that, September. I was hoping to still get a contract renewal with Alaska, pero sabi ko, I wanted to focus more on setting up a business already, which is my Michelle's Putong Ubi at that time. I wanted to focus more on that or set up another thing kasi nga sabi ko, medyo bangku-bangku na ako nun eh. A lot of the new guys, the Philams were coming in and they were so much better than me. So sabi ko, sige, kahit practice player na lang ako, I just wanted to maximize the income coming from the sport of basketball. But nung January, bumili pa nga ako ng mga gamit pang pakondisyon sa States, sa mga heavy jump rope, mga ganyan. And then tinawagan ako ni Coach Tim Cone. Medyo it was tough because he told me that he wouldn't be renewing my contract and then hindi na rin sila magpa-practice sa Reyes Gym. And that was back in 2003, January or February na yung sinabi sa akin. So at that time, medyo I was lost. I was sour graping at the time. Didn't really want to watch any PBA game kasi syempre, parang the game you love the most and the job that was like, everyone wanted to be in your position, mawawala na. Ibig sabihin, tapos na. Diba? I tried some smaller leagues back then kasi nga I still wanted to be at the top of my game. But then, sabi ko, I think it's time talaga to call it, to hang your sneakers and do something else. And that was back in 2003. Maybe mga middle of 2004. So, syempre, noong 2003, trabaho na tayo, work, tapos sabay yung business, etc., etc. I had a family already. So, I was also worried about my family kasi syempre, mawawalan ako ng trabaho. And then, I was able to, meron akong business noon, which is the Putong Ube, which up to now, 25 years old na yung business ko na yan. It's still there in Mandaluyong and in the mall. And Fidel Mangonon, I think, called me up, or was it Michelle Olaso? I saw her in one of the, they told me, Eric, do you want to be a sportscaster? So sabi ko, why not? Syempre, basketball lang yan. So I decided, sabi ko, sige, and sabi, okay. So I went for it. I tried it out. They called me. Pagdating sa pagiging analyst, ang dali. It's really more, you just have to time your inputs of the game and you have to complement your anchor. So I've learned to do that. But syempre, minsan, nasasapawan ko yung, the great Ed Pixon, mga ganyan. Kasama ko sila dati. Minsan, I talk too much. I ended talking too much. And si Ed, hindi na masyado nakakasalita. So, yan. But I learned how to time it para mas maganda yung you complement each other. Eto na. Biglang, okay, Eric, you'll be a courtside reporter. Okay, sige. So my very first courtside reporting assignment, it was really hilarious kasi parang I was so nervous. Parang sabi ko, basketball ang pag-usapan ko dito. What's gonna be so hard? But, being in front of the camera all alone, so nakatingin ka dun, you don't know thousands or millions of televiewers are watching you. Biglang you make your hirit na yung mga courtside reports. So parang ang dating ng courtside report, my very first courtside report, para akong galit. Kasi I got so nervous talaga. Parang, tsaka minsan, makakalimutan mo yung sasabihin mo. Tapos minsan, si-segue ka pa or i-intro extra ka. Kunyari, you have to introduce this artista who was going, you have to parang interview for the half. Eh syempre, basta like pag basketball, game tayo. Courtside report, I'll interview the players, I'll have guide questions, or I have a question of my own about the game. That's extremely easy for me. Pero kung artista, hindi ko alam kung ano tatanong ko, lalo na kung let's say walang kaalam-alam sa basketball. Kung pag-uusapan namin dito. You know, those were the challenges that I encountered when I became a sportscaster. But I had some moments wherein, you know, you get to, I was the only guy, and puro mga hindi ko alam kung beauty queen o mga sexy stars yung mga ini-interview ko, some kind of performer, ganyan. So parang naghihiyawan pa nga yung mga fans nun kasi parang they were all over me. So parang, okay pala maging sportscaster, you get to interview all these sexy people. So yeah, those were the experiences that I enjoyed the most. But yes, there were also challenges at that time. And yeah, from 2004, middle of 2004 all the way to today, you know, sportscasting has really been like coaching for me. You know, it really generated. You know, I'm also thankful and grateful to, you know, to Shena, Olaso, and, you know, the rest of the people at TV5, because yes, I did have my moments wherein I would sour grape. I don't want to watch the PBA. I mean, you know, parang, syempre parang pinalis ka na eh. Wala ka na kontrata. Pero wala, that's the reality of it. And that's actually the sad part when you have players who really do so well. And then when it's time to hang up your sneakers, what do you do after that? Diba? That's where my LaSalle background and Ateneo education will take over. That's where a lot of my experiences as a sportscaster really came about.
Being an analyst is kind of like coaching, but you get to sleep more.
Like I said, that's what that's basically my journey. You know, up to the time that today that I enjoy just reminiscing and looking back. Sharing my story to you guys and to even the viewers on TV. That's parang like that's definitely like coaching for me. And yes, mas nakakatulog ako. Yes, after doing all this, I could be with my family. I could like before, nung wala pang pandemic, first we would go out of town, we would travel. Kasi sportscasting eh. I mean, pwede ka naman magpaalam, tapos pwede ka, you can take off. Unlike pag coach ka, that's something that you definitely cannot do.
Wow, okay. And that is it for Sportito. A lot of things we got to learn about Eric's career in basketball. For now, we go to our segment called Karambola, where I am going to give our Sportitos topics and questions and ask them for their ideas and theories. Ang importante lang is that these ideas and theories are out of the box. Dahil tulad nga ng parating sinasabi ni Mr. Excited,
Kaya nga wild eh.
okay, let's get right into it. Kakaibang question to. We've heard a lot of talk about the emergence of this era of stars as the greatest. No? In fact, ang dami nagsasabi na nasa era daw na to ang GOAT. Now, let's do a hypothetical. Ito, again, wild ano to Who would be more successful in a generation or era swap? May apat tayo na pag-iisipan. Una, Jordan on the 2000s Lakers or Kobe on the 90s Bulls? Yun muna.
Who would be more successful sa dalawa sa kanila?
Yes.
So just parang ganun?
Who would be more successful? Would
Who
Kobe have
will play better?
won the two three-peats if he had been on the 90s Bulls? Would Jordan have won against the Celtics in that 1 year that he played, that the Lakers played against the Celtics, against the big three of the Celtics?
You know, I'm really a Michael Jordan fan. Of course, I have a high regard and respect for Kobe. But if you ask me, Jordan pa rin ako eh. Kasi if you look at Jordan's track record, tapos ilalagay mo siya sa Lakers noong 2000, I think he would still top it all. Because once Jordan gets into the finals, hindi pa siya natatalo. So that is my, yun yung reason ko kung bakit sa tingin ko si Jordan masisikat. Because every time Jordan, when he was with the Bulls, and he got into the finals, hindi siya natalo eh. Natatalo lang siya noon sa Detroit. Of course, nung nasa Wizards na siya, pero that's towards the end of his career na. But at the peak, of course, Kobe magaling. But natalo siya sa finals. Si Jordan never pa natalo sa finals.
I agree with Eric in the sense I think Jordan would have an easier time adjusting. If you consider him the GOAT, for me, that means any generation encompassing siya. Well, Kobe, as great as he was, I think he was great in his era. If you put him back sa year na yun, I don't want to say that he would be just like any other shooting guard. But you have to remember, the team that Jordan had there was kind of built around him eh. So I don't know if Kobe had more or less the same killer instinct, same, alam mo yun, they sometimes sasabi that he actually tells people that he patterned his game against Jordan, right? So in a way, I don't know if he actually put him in that team in Chicago, if it will actually translate to him being a better player or with him winning championships over there. Hindi natin alam kung how he will mesh with Pippen and everything. Because in this Laker championship, aside from solo na siya, he always had the big man like Shaq to depend on. And who are these big men? Luke
Longley.
Yeah.
Purdue.
Bill Cartwright.
So I don't really know kung kaya niyang buhatin yung team the way that Jordan did at that time, di ba? Again, different years. But I think Jordan would be more of an impact than Kobe with in the Bulls noong mga 1990s na. Di ba? Nagaya naman ako, Farley.
Hindi. Same points yung mga sinabi ni... same points yung mga sinabi ni Kuya Gary at ni Kuya Eric, no?
Walang niya ka.
Same points ng dalawa sa inyo, dadagdag ko lang is the way they call yung officiating, the fouls. Mas madali makaka-score si Jordan because grabe yung no harm, no foul ng NBA nung 80s eh.
Yes.
And 90s, yeah. So mas madali sa akin makaka-score si Jordan ng 2000. Aside from yung mga sinabi no, which I agree. Yun lang.
Contra Commander?
Ako?
Contra Commander.
Mahirap to kontrahin pero
Mahirap to.
Ano?
Okay, I feel like if Kobe were to if you were to put Kobe in the place of Michael Jordan's teams before, I feel like the role Jordan plays before for the Bulls, like scoring, taking most of the shots, even if you say that the toughness, I mean, Kobe you would think would be softer than Jordan, but that's just because that's how the game was played na eh. It's not necessarily because Kobe is soft. I mean, if you put him in a situation where he had to be physical, I feel like with his with the Mamba mentality, he would have been able to adjust. So I think kung si Kobe nilagay mo sa role ni Jordan nung 90s, I feel like it's not gonna be that big of an adjustment for Kobe. As opposed to Jordan playing the role of Kobe now, I feel like it's more of the makeup of Kobe's teams. He'd have like a legit second star. He'd have a legit second or third option. Jordan was the main star. So I'm not really sure if Jordan would be able to share the limelight. Like I'm not the only guy here. I feel like it would be a little hard for Jordan, just as it is so hard for me to justify what I'm saying. But I tried my best.
I kind of agree kasi si Shaq is a big personality. Teka, di ba?
Yeah, solid point.
So tama din si Noy doon eh. Kung sino sa kanila yung
But I don't
their
completely
ego.
believe my point. Let's go.
Hindi, kung na-control ni Jordan si Rodman, hindi ka mas kaya niya si Shaq.
Do you
Si
think
Rodman, ibang planeta talaga yun.
Hindi,
I
pero
mean,
kasi
oo
si
nga.
Rodman, iba naman eh. Iba naman si
ibang
Rodman.
control
Si Rodman, set
Rodman,
kasi siya
ibang
sa role
control.
niya.
Oo.
Rodman, you had to control his antics. Shaq, you have to control his ego. That's a completely different thing.
Pwede naman i-trade.
Iba lang naman yung magte-trade nun eh.
PBA.
Ayun. Speaking of trades. No, yun, punta tayo dun sa next na
Wow.
comparison
Oh.
natin. Ayan.
Wow.
Ito,
Sige,
yung next
kuya.
comparison natin. Magic on the current Lakers squad or LeBron on the 80s Lakers squad?
So if LeBron were in the 80s squad, wala silang point guard.
Wala Showtime
Sa
era.
point guard.
Point guard.
LeBron ang
Point guard
point
din naman
guard.
Siya ang
LeBron,
point
no?
guard literally. Well,
Diba, naglalaro
ako,
siya
Magic
ngayon eh.
Magic is one of the few players without taking a shot would impact this game. So with that being in mind, with the scoring the way it is now, I'm sure he'll get his points. The way it's free flowing right now, I don't think he'll have any problem adjusting to now. Except that he has fewer weapons. Except ang weapon na si Anthony Davis lang. Wala siya ibang kasama. Play as a score. Di ba? Parang wala. Even sila KCP, di ba? Parang
Hindi, baka si
Iba-
Kuzma mag-thrive sa kanya.
maybe,
Nag-Showtime
pero
nga
iba yung
era.
makeup ng team talaga. Unlike if LeBron goes to a loaded Lakers team at that time, which had Jabbar, Worthy, Byron Scott, ang
Cooper.
loaded yung mga yun. Di ba? And then, high pass offense, although LeBron, offense-wise, probably say the same. I would give the edge to LeBron at just having a better time in
Having a better
Hindi siya
time.
makaka-triple-double
Having a
sa
better
80s.
time. Ano hindi?
Hindi siya makaka-triple-double sa 80s.
Bakit? Lalo na nga siya makaka-triple double. Nakita mo, binanggit ko yung mga lahat ng weapons niya.
Hindi siya makaka-score dahil injured na siya sa mga fouls doon. Ngayon lang, konti lang yung mga ganun.
He might average triple, maybe lower points, pero rebounds, assists.
You only need 10 to average a triple-double.
That's why nga sabi ko, hater naman yung isa dyan, kaya alam natin kung bakit ganun.
O hindi
Pero naka-yellow.
Oo.
Alin?
Yellow ka naman.
Of course.
Bakit?
Wala.
Bakit? Wala lang.
Kasi nag-usap tayo ni Ed sa Revolution kanina.
Oo, kasi EDSA ng EDSA si Eric eh.
O ikaw, Farley, sige nga, ikaw na nga. O ikaw, ano opinion mo?
Magic yan.
Para di ka
Magic
magaya.
Magic. Magic.
Bakit?
Kasi yung mga great
bakit?
players, kahit saan mo ilagay, magta-thrive sila eh. Ako tingin ko lang sa kanya, mas magiging freewheeling with Anthony Davis. Tapos si Kuzma.
Sino pa?
Ano pa ba nga?
Wala.
Wala na kilala.
Schroeder.
Si Morris ang kapalit ni Cooper.
May Schroeder ka, may Harrell ka. O, di ba?
Yan.
Wala.
Oh, galing.
Wala. Wala ka masabi.
Hindi, mas magta-thrive nga si Magic kasi nga wala siya kakampi.
Wala siyang kakampi meron. Lahat naman sila
Na
magkakampi.
yung ganong kalakas kamukha nung sa 80s, lahat sila star, di ba? Worthy, Jabbar. Mas magta-thrive siya. Ano ba tanong? Mas magiging successful?
Magiging successful.
Individually,
sige.
yes, siguro.
Okay, sige. Kontrahin na kita, Parley.
Lebron ka rin?
Lebron ako, Lebron. Kasi daw, ano ba to? Wait. If you put LeBron in that Lakers team, yun nga, as in, all he has to do is be a facilitator. He doesn't even have to look to score. Set na yun, he just has to make that team run. Sasabay lang siya. Pero I think he has the physical capabilities to do that. Even yung skills-wise, he could easily play Magic's role. Pero yun nga, if you put Magic in the current Lakers team, I feel like that lineup is just faulty. I mean, if you think about it, sige fine, you have Anthony Davis, then who? I mean, everyone else, I mean, you'd expect Kyle Kuzma to be the third scorer, but no.
Ang
You
mahirap
have,
dyan yung
ano?
yung coach din pala. Bugil.
I mean,
Imagine.
the way it's built. I mean, the way they form the team, it's more. I mean, LeBron doesn't necessarily have fundamentally sound teams built around him. LeBron makes his some of his teammates better, not all. I mean, yun nga, if a certain player plays a role well, like he'd always have his shooter, or basta he'd have that shooter with him. But that's all that guy will do. Pero for the rest, alam mo yun, for the rest of that guy's career, I mean, he would probably like get a good contract somewhere else. Pero you know, the progression of the career, like okay, except for maybe Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love after he played with LeBron went downhill. Chris Bosh, well, aside from him getting sick, pero it went downhill. So I feel like if you put Magic in that situation, that lineup, I don't think he would be able. I mean, even if he does Showtime, who's gonna run Showtime with him? Harrell, KCP, Wes Matthews. I mean, who would those guys still be able to run with him? So yun. Dahil kumontra lang ako kay Farley.
But just to be clear, Magic can play in this era. It might not be
Yes,
successful if he
but
was that same
not with
Lakers.
not that team.
Just to be clear. Ako ganun din ang feeling ko.
Yes.
Okay. Kunin natin ang opinion ng ating expert analyst.
You guys brought up a lot of good points there. Kasi nga, iba yung style. LeBron is really fitted more of a scorer. He can facilitate. Versus Magic, syempre nung time na yun, Magic doesn't have, I don't really remember Magic having a jump shot. And LeBron has a jump shot. Magic is more of a set shot. He can take a three. Pero parang feeling ko mas better scorer si LeBron. So I think LeBron would have an easier time playing in the 80s versus Magic having to score more with his current crop of teammates today.
Agree.
Very succinct. Very
Straight
Okay.
to the point.
Punta tayo sa straight to the point. Our last era swap. Ito, Larry Bird on today's Mavs or Luka
Ano wala? Okay.
or Luka on
Larry
the
Bird
80s
on
Celtics.
today's Mavs or Luka on the Celtics. Kung si Luka dinala mo sa Celtics noong 80s, ang kakampi niya would be DJ, Kevin McHale, Robert
McHale,
Parrish.
Parrish,
Ainge.
If ever
Ainge.
Reggie Lewis, Danny Ainge, if ever yung mga yun. The Bird's teammates would be Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber,
Malakas
Diday
yung Boston.
Seymour.
Gusto mo pa ituloy yung tanong mo?
No, again, Bird would be able to play in this league, any era, but I don't think he'll be successful with that lineup. But bring Luka to the other league, to the other era, I think he'll thrive on that. I don't know kung, although games are slower back then, he might not be as successful as we think he might be. Kasi iba na yung team na pinasukan niya as compared to the 80s eh. Diba? Slow, grind, whatever, maybe sabi ng tama si Farley physical. So, I'm probably saying Luka will have be more successful there, but I might not be the way we think he is. Yung ganito kagaling. That's my point only. That he will be successful because the team is loaded. But it might not be necessarily because of him. He'll be a part of it, but not a big part of it.
And for all you know, he might
Not
not even get to play. I mean, he might not
kasi
even have
DJ,
the ball all the time. So,
DJ, Danny H, medyo deep na. Reggie Lewis, di ba? And then
And if
low
he
post
takes
Let's
the
and
shots
McHale
he's
and
taking now, he'd probably get benched during that time.
sakit sa ulo. Namura ni Casey Joseph de Oros yun. Nalaklis pa umiikot ulo ng mga yun.
Maybe not for the Celtics.
Di ba? Pero galing, di ba? Kung si Bird naman dito, coach si Rick Carlisle, teammate na dati if ever, di ba? Parang okay. Kung nag-era swap no?
Oo nga, no?
I mean, di ba? Yung, now, before we leave it lang, before I forget, there's one player who I think would survive in this league if he started playing ng mga, pero hindi siya 80s, 90s. If you put Allen Iverson in this era now, hayop siguro ay na-average na Allen Iverson. Just throw it out there, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thing. No, ikaw, Farley. Yes, Farley?
Yung kay ano nga, yung kay...
Shutdown ka.
Madalas kasi yung Boston eh. So, mas madadalian si Luka.
So, magiging
Better
successful
supporting cast. Tingin ko. Dallas, wala kasi ngayon, di ba? Si Bird sa labas, tapos Porzingis sa labas din.
Kaya mabuhat ni Bird, pero...
Yeah.
Diba? Coach Meron?
Kontra.
Wala, agree lang ako kay Gary.
Agree.
Hindi ko kaya hindi ko kaya na i-justify. I mean, maybe if you put Luka in another team, not the Celtics. I mean, that Celtics team did not need a Luka Doncic. Even without Larry Bird, I mean, he's not the person to plug that hole. And besides, even if you put Bird with the Mavericks now, it's a bad fit rin actually. Dahil you take out Luka eh. So you're stuck with Porzingis, Bird, and everybody else. So maybe if you swap Bird with Dirk Nowitzki, that champion team, I think that would be a better.
Baka yun pwede pa yun.
Although that's pretty, I mean, you can say na identical na pretty much you can just swap those two. But yun, sige fine, I'll just go with Larry Bird. Sige. Larry Bird would be in a better position than Luka because I'm pretty sure Larry Bird will still have a career. I mean, if you put Doncic in during that time, he'd probably get benched. I mean, you'd go DJ, you have Danny Ainge. You'd go with that first before you go to a Luka Doncic.
Yun, Eric.
There's one thing that I admire about Larry Bird is his leadership. I think he can be a leader in both eras. Luka, well, in fairness to him, he's a great player, but he's still, kung eksakto ngayon ililipat mo siya doon, I don't think he will command that leadership yet and that respect yet from him kasi masyadong bata eh. He's definitely skilled, definitely can score, but iba pa rin yung Larry Bird kasi meron siyang he can post up, he can puro shooting lang, hindi mo naman siya makikita mag-Euro step, di ba? So sama Larry Bird Euro
kasi
step.
masakit na yung likod niya eh.
Masakit na yung likod. There'll be a lot of twisting, hindi na kaya yun. But I think Larry Bird would be successful even if you make him play today. Luka will be successful. No, let's put it this way. The team will be successful with Luka as a complement to the older players.
Yes.
Complement lang siya. Hindi siya yung talagang parang Bird na, as you guys said, plug in the hole.
Leader.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Agree.
Okay, great ideas from all of our sportitos. And that is it for Carambola. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for this week's episode. We would like to thank once again our guest, Sportito Eric Reyes. Eric, thanks for dropping by and gracing our show tonight.
Guys, it was always fun, trying to reminisce and look back at how the journey went. And I want to thank, Farley for considering me to come out in the show.
Oh, yeah.
It was really my honor to be here and to share my stories. Sometimes lang, when I get excited, I get carried away and I kind of talk too much. That's something
That's all good.
I guess,
That's all good.
I guess, I get kind of excited when you talk about the past, especially, especially I really wanted to share the journey and how hard it was. getting to where I am as a basketball player. Especially when your kids think that you suck and you're not really But like I said, you know what I always tell my kids. I'm fine with it if they think that I'm not that good. Siyempre, hindi naman nila nakita yung pinaghirapan mo na umabot
Yeah.
ka doon. But I just do a lot of pep talk for them because honestly, at my kid's age, especially my 18-year-old versus when I was 18-year-old, he was, I think, a better shooter compared to I was kasi he has a backspin already. Sa akin, late ko na natutunan yun. But yun nga lang talaga, yung defense talaga is something that I really wanted them to learn. Yun lang yung masasabi ko talaga because tsaka yung yung makikipagbanggaan ka talaga din sa loob kasi nakita ko yung anak ko now. But overall, when I was 18, he was a much better scorer than me. Yun nga. But like I said, I definitely got excited sharing my story with you guys because it is one way for me to really show you guys that I really I'm thankful for that journey because yung friends, yung experience along the way, that is something that I would want to impart to my children and to your viewers, listeners, so that matutunan nila that there is always hope as long as you just work hard with your game.
Nice.
Ayun, Eric, baka may gusto kang i-greet or baka may shoutout ka or
Or
ibang bagay
i-plug.
na parting shot or may gusto kang i-plug para sa ating mga kalaro, mga televiewers, ika nga ni Farley.
Well, my kids, hopefully that because of this this show, they would start to believe. No. Of course, I always wanted to greet my Ateneo 87, 88 brothers. Diba? If not for them and if not for all my coaches, Coach Joe, Coach Chot, Coach Oji, dami, Coach Chris Kalilan, lahat ng mga nagturo sa akin, si Coach Fritz, lahat naman yan, pinagkakautahan ko na loob because if not for them, I don't think I would be able to be molded into the person that I am today.
Ayun.
Nice.
Ayun. Parting doon, to the kids of Eric, your dad was great in during his basketball days, no? Yun. So,
Ako.
believe. Okay, anyway, tuloy na natin ang ating mga parting shots, starting off with the daddy dribbling all the way in Canada, Mr. Excited, Gary Villanueva.
Thank you, Coach Eric. Thank you very much. I've watched you play in 87, 88, and even the ABL, although never kita nakalaban, I've watched you play. Walang kupas, the fake, the analytical, yung pivot niya na sasabi niya, grabe pag walang kupas si Eric, no? And thank you for bringing the Ateneo 87, 88 championships. I've always wanted to thank the mga pioneers natin that paved the way for the generation now. And again, I'd like to thank you for nagtiyaga ka at nakinig ka sa aming mga tito sa mga hirit namin. So salamat sa pagtiyaga.
No,
and for everyone out there, no? Yeah.
Always learn so much. Yeah. Thank you also.
Thanks. All right. And then sa lahat ng mga nandyan, I heard again, guys, Pilipinas, dumadami pa ang kaso ng COVID, hindi pa tapos. May vaccine nga. Hindi yan excuse para maglakwatsa na ulit. Long way to go. So guys, please continue practice social distancing, wear a mask, just stay safe to let this pandemic end. And this is Gary from Canada signing off,
Yun. Up next is the Contra Commander, ang expert sa pagmimiron, si Coach Miron Noy, Africa.
Of course, first of all, I'd like to thank our guest, Eric, for your kids. Your dad is legit. He's legit PBA. So yeah, for the kids now, I mean, if you're a basketball player, parang they would think that you do the exciting things. You score, you do dunks, you do the flashy things. Parang yun nga, they don't notice the other players who are very vital to the team, the players who do the dirty work, the guy who gets assigned to defend imports, the guy who defends the post, the guy who defends perimeter players, to shut down like clutch players. That's a very hard thing. So yun nga, to your kids, Eric, just keep reminding them you're legit. You're legit PBA. And of course, the one other thing is, if you dream, I mean, the field of basketball is not limited to just playing. There's coaching, there's sportscasting. So if one door closes, there's probably another door open somewhere. It's just a matter of finding that door and going inside. So yun. But with the pandemic, yeah, the vaccine is here, but it's not here yet. I mean, it before, especially for our age group, it's gonna take a while. We're way down in the list of priorities for the vaccine. So for everyone, please, protect yourselves. In that way, you protect your family and you protect others. Like what Coach Olsen said last week, wag daw kami seryosohing apat. Pero yun nga, the pandemic, please, let's start taking it seriously para matapos na, please. Laro-laro lang.
Ayun. And of course, hindi magpapahuli ang master ng pasabog, si Mr. Pasabog, Farley Dom Romantico Aguila.
First of all, I'd like to thank my very good friend, Eric. Kahit na short notice lang, yes, last night he agreed to do this for us tonight. And it's so nice to hear his stories. Yung hard work niya, yung tiyaga niya, yung ganon. And then especially reminiscing yung 2 championships kasi I was in college at that time. Iba yung feeling pag batch mo yung involved sa team, unlike now na alumni ka na, di ba? Masarap pa rin, pero iba pa rin yung kaibigan mo yung lahat, kaklase mo yung iba, yung ganon. Mas nafe-feel mo yung success. And it's so nice to remember those years of the Ateneo glory. Tapos with the pandemic now, please stay safe. And hindi ho talaga biro ito. Madalas kami magbiro dito. Pero with regards to the pandemic, please take it seriously. Unless maging serious kayo sa ICU, pag hindi nyo sineryoso. So, ingat lang po lahat. Thank you again, Eric.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate your being here as well, Eric, no? At ako naman si Chief Bisdak Joel Parcon. Once again, thank you, Eric, for joining us tonight. It was great hearing your stories. Good luck in all your endeavors, especially in the upcoming PBA season. Sana nga matuloy na para mapanood na ulit namin ng mga Pilipino ang kanilang mga idol sa hardcourt. At para naman sa mga viewers natin, please like and share our show if you enjoyed it. Like nyo na rin ang aming mga social media pages. It's larularullang.ph on Facebook and at larularullang on Instagram. And I will leave you with these words of wisdom, Kuno. It doesn't matter if you're not the face of the team, so long as you know that you deliver significantly in whatever way your team needs you to. And that is another episode of Laro-Laro Lang. Episode 10 of the second season, sakto sa jersey number ni Eric. Anyway,
Yes.
wag niyo kami masyadong seryosohin. Stay safe. Good night.
Take care, guys. Take care. Salamat. Maraming salamat.